Hey everyone, welcome to 41 Strong Podcast. My name is Chuck Tate, and today is episode 112, and we are diving right in because we have so much to pack in this 20-minute episode today. My guest is a returning guest. She is one of my very favorite humans. All right, she is the author of The Polygamous Daughter. She has led many successful launch teams. She's also a Tyndale an author with Tyndale House like myself, so she's a good friend. We've had her speak at our church before. She is on the line live from Dallas, Texas. My guest is Anna LeBaron. Anna, welcome back to 41 Strong.
Thank you, Chuck. It's an honor to be a returning guest. That means I didn't mess up the first time, so you decided to have me back.
Yes. Yeah, and
Super exciting.
Well, I believe this is your third time on 41 Strong, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I think you're right. So I can let go of all those fears of I didn't do it right the first or second time now.
Well, it really is an honor, and I know you are so busy, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hang out with us today and to help us today.
Well, it's a fun topic that you suggested we discuss. It's one of my favorite topics, and so I'm just ready to dive in and help some people that might need to know a little bit more about what we're talking about. So I'll let you decide how we go from here.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll jump right in. We're going to talk about the importance of book launches because, what I have found even recently in talking to some friends of mine, I have a friend that is with a publisher, and his book is going to be released in 2019, and I was asking him when the book was going to release and if he had a launch team. And anyway, he texted me back, hey, what's a launch team? And I'm like, oh,
Okay.
whoa. I don't just want to assume that authors and writers, aspiring writers, that they know what a launch team is. I mean, I know that there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast that have been on a launch team, and there are authors that have done their own launch teams. But I have a feeling there's a lot of people that really don't understand what that means. So, right off the bat, if we know we're going to publish a book, or we have a dream to publish a book, whether it's with a traditional author or whether it's to be self-published, it is vital to have a launch team. So I'm just going to let you explain, first of all, what is a launch team? What is a book launch?
Hey, Chuck?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So I all of a sudden things went silent. So a launch team is a way for an author to help get the word out before a book comes out on the market. So generally those happen in a Facebook group where you gather fans of the author and people that are interested in the topic of the book, where they receive an advanced reader copy, either a physical copy or a digital or PDF version of the book that they get to read in advance. They're also provided with some, quote, graphics and things that the publisher or the author will provide them to give them something to share on their social media that will help pique the interest of other possible readers that are the intended readers for that book. So the three things that a book launch team does primarily is, one, they read and review the book, not just on Amazon, but also they review it on a website called Goodreads. It's the best place to review a book before it comes out on the market. Most websites don't allow you to review a book until it's been released. And so Goodreads allows reviews prior to publication because there's no money exchange. That's not a place where you buy books. So you can review a book before it comes out. And so when I'm leading a team, I have them read the book and post their review on Goodreads prior to the release day so that on release day, there's no complication, there's no thinking about it. You just copy and paste your review of the book to the different websites where booksellers allow reviews, namely Amazon, but also Barnes & Noble and Christian book distributors, Books A Million, just anywhere you have an account where you buy your books, you can review a book if they allow that. And so Goodreads and Amazon are the two primary places where most readers go if they want to see reviews of a book. And so that's the number one thing that a launch team does, read and review the book. The second thing that a launch team does is they will share those quote graphics. They'll share images of the book cover along with a link to the book's website where people can learn more about the book and decide if they want to pre-order a copy, because pre-order sales matter so much when a new book is coming out on the market. Pre-order sales kind of gives Amazon an idea of how many books they need to have in stock in their distributor warehouses so that they don't run out if there's going to be a significant demand for that book title. And so pre-order sales help Amazon. Pre-order sales help the publisher kind of get an idea of what's going to happen with this book and how well received it's going to be. They pre-order sales give the sales team with the publisher what they need to go out and talk to the different distributors and booksellers, indie booksellers. They pre-order sales just help so much. And so when you are a brand new author, it's never too early to begin talking about your book and inviting your fans and followers, friends and family to pre-order your book. There has been in the past this idea that you can talk about it too soon and that you can lose some of that energy for the book. But from where I'm sitting, if you are a brand new author, it is not too soon to get as many pre-order sales as you can. And so you're not asking your friends and family, fans and followers, all the 4 F's. You're not asking them to pre-order the book. You're inviting them. It's an invitation to help you. If you're a brand new author or an up-and-coming author, you need all of these people to come alongside of you and help you with this. And so you invite them to pre-order. The launch team will also invite their friends and family as they are sharing about the book to pre-order their own copy. And people that are readers love to see what's coming out next. What's the next thing and what's the latest and greatest. And so sharing about book titles that you're reading, just sharing them on your social media is a great way to help other readers find out if they're one of the target audience that this book has been written for. And so pre-order sales is the second thing that a launch team helps an author with. So the third thing is almost as important as reviews and pre-orders. And the third thing is just social media awareness of the book title and the book cover, because most people need to see a new product or service an average of 7 to 10 times before they make a buying decision. So let's just give an example of, if you write a book and you put it out there and somebody sees that book title, the subtitle, or the book cover, and it piques their interest, and they are the target audience for that book, they might see that subtitle or the title of the book and go, oh my gosh, this book I need this book. And they'll click pre-order right then and there, the first time they see it, just because they're the target market. But other people may need to see that book title, book cover, 20 times before they finally make a decision about, oh yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and buy this book. And so the average is 7 to 10 times. And so what a launch team does is by sharing those quote graphics, by sharing the book cover, by taking a photograph holding the book if they get a physical copy of it, and making sure that the title and the book cover is very visible and prominent in that photograph. You're just giving other people an opportunity to see that it's available for purchase or pre-order, and then giving them the opportunity to make that buying decision. So it may not be for them. Not every book is for every single person. I mean, maybe except the Bible, you know? But not every book is for everybody. And so just by putting it out there multiple times over the course of the book launch, which is usually about 6 to 8 weeks long prior to release day, you're giving people an opportunity to see it enough times that they can decide for them if this is a book they want to read and engage with the content. So those are the top 3 things that every book launch does. Now, there's all kinds of other stuff that happens in a book launch team that is fun and exciting, and I try to make my book launches fun, just because you're putting people together in a Facebook community group where there already is a lot of common ground for them if they're all fans of the same author. And so that's generally where the launch team gets formed from, is people that are already fans or followers, friends, and family. And so you're putting people together that already have common ground, and they can kind of get to know one another, and connections get made in those groups. So there's lots of other things that happen in a launch team group that are fun and worth exploring. If you've never been on a launch team, it's worth exploring whether that would be something you would want to do. But it's just a way for people to help someone else nobody gets paid to be on a launch team and to participate. But what they get is, 1, a free book, either a digital or physical copy, and they get to help someone, because every author needs that tribe of people that will come alongside of them and help get their book out on the marketplace in a way that I describe it like this. When you are pre-launch or pre-release, everything that happens on that launch team, everything that the publisher is doing for publicity and marketing, everything that the author does for publicity and marketing of the book, all of that is like putting fuel in the rocket ship as it's sitting waiting for the countdown to release day. So the more fuel you can put in there, the higher that book is going to soar once it leaves the gravitational pull of the Earth's atmosphere. And then it can just orbit. After it launches, it can just orbit. And with a few minor course corrections here and there, that book can just continue selling. But we need to get it outside of the gravitational pull of the Earth's atmosphere in order for it to just orbit and continue doing well in the marketplace. Because books are ideas, and when you've been impacted by a book, you hear somebody else that needs that book title, that content, and you're going to share the title with them. You're going to say, oh man, I know there's a book that you need to read. And so word of mouth advertising is what keeps books in orbit, if we want to continue with that analogy. And so book launch teams are the fuel that help get a book out into the atmosphere.
I love it, man. That is so awesome. That is gold right there, people. I want to thank everybody for listening. For those that are watching, my guest is Anna LeBaron. She is the author of The Polygamist's Daughter. She is a social media expert. She is also a book launch expert. In fact, Anna, you have conducted some very successful book launches by some authors that I'm sure listeners are familiar with. Can you share some of those?
Yes, I have several books that I've launched that have done really well. The most recent one that's done really well is a book called Girl, Wash Your Face by author Rachel Hollis. This was her 6th book out on the marketplace, and it's her first time on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
And eventually it became a #1 New York Times bestseller. And so that one was really, really fun, because she didn't make the list right when the book came out, which is generally when if a book is going to make a list, if it's never been there before, it's going to be during that first week of sales, where all the pre-orders plus the first week of sales all get compiled. And that's usually somebody's first time making the list. That's usually the best chance they have, because all those pre-orders count along with the first week of sales. And so hers didn't make the list right out of the gate. It picked up steam as it went along, and that's unusual. So that was one of them. Another one was Bob Goff's
Yes!
Everybody Always. And I mean, anybody that's read his first book, Love Does, which has sold zillions of copies. I think zillion is probably an exaggeration, but but enough that his second book, Everybody Always, came out, and it's New York Times bestseller, and it also is really a great book. Anybody that's heard him speak or read his books knows and loves Bob Goff.
Yes. And in fact, Bob Goff was just in Peoria a few weeks ago. Dream Center Peoria brought him in to kick off a campaign called Love Peoria, and he was the featured speaker, and phenomenal. I had the opportunity to meet him, and I did mention you to him. I was name dropping Anna, and he mentioned how helpful you were with his book launch, and then you also launched his wife's book as well, right?
Yeah, Love Lives Here. Yeah. So it was just an honor to get to work with him and his wife. The other one that has done really well is I launched two of Jen Hatmaker's books. The first book I ever launched was For the Love. And then I launched her second book, or not her second, but the second one that I launched was Of Mess and Moxie, both New York Times bestsellers.
Wow.
So there's a bunch of other titles that have just been, they're not on the New York Times bestseller list, but they've made other lists, USA Today or Publishers Weekly. There's a lot of different lists that are out there, but New York Times is obviously the pinnacle of what every author wants to be able to say is they're a New York Times bestselling author. So
awesome.
I launched my cousin Ruth Warner's book. It's a memoir called The Sound of Gravel, and it became an instant New York Times bestseller. So,
wow. And
she was a first-time author. So,
wow.
So I have a lot of experience doing this and having fun with it. And that's, I think, the key ingredient is I have so much fun.
You have fun with everything, Anna. That's what I love about you. You are just a fun person, and it's so awesome to get to talk to you today. And I am absolutely sold on having you launch my next book. So, in fact, for those that are listening today that have a book coming out, whether it's a self-published book or with a major publisher, how can someone get in touch with you to inquire about having you launch their book, and how can those listening follow you on social media? Can you just share all your info with us?
Generally speaking, it's publishers that hire me to launch a book for an author. And so that's generally how it works.
Okay.
And so, but you can go to my website, AnnaLeBaron.com. There's several tabs there. One is specifically about book launching that you can, see and read and kind of figure out if it's going to be a thing for us to work together. On my social media, it's Anna K. LeBaron, and I'm most active on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So those are the places to find me.
And let me just say, you are a fun follow. I love everything that you post and share. I love your heart. I love your heart for people. I love your heart for Jesus, and as we get ready to wrap this up, we know that authors, and I know there's a lot of listeners today that they're an aspiring author. They like to write, whether it's a blog or writing articles, or perhaps have that dream to publish their own book. And some have already written their manuscript, and in the future they're going to be publishing a book. And the one thing that I know that you would agree with is this. I mean, authors write to be read, and if our book is going to help people, we have to be willing to promote it. And sometimes
Right.
that's uncomfortable, but we have to say, okay, I've written this book to help people because I believe it's going to help people, then I have to be willing to do everything I can to extend its reach the furthest. And I love that you said it's not too soon to get people to pre-order. It's not too soon to start your launch team, and I mean, my book, 41 Will Come, it's been out now about almost 2.5 years, a little more than 2 years. And I still have people asking me, so, hey, what's the deal with the number 41? I just assume everybody knows. And
Right.
the reality is the majority of people don't have any clue what it means.
Right.
So it's never too early. And that's the one thing that I've learned myself. So
It's never too early. And an author's job is to continue selling their book until the day they take their last breath. So here's the thing that I love to say. If you're writing a book that your heart is not so impassioned about the content and the message that you're willing to market it for the rest of your life, you are writing the wrong book.
Wow. Man, that'll preach right there. And that's how we're going to take this thing out. So, man, people need to get in touch with you. Follow Anna LeBaron on her social media. It's Anna K. LeBaron. And if you want to go to her website, and I encourage you to do so, it's annalebaron.com. You will be encouraged, you will inspired, you will learn some things, but most of all, you're going to have a blast because she's a blast. So you're awesome, Anna. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us today on 41 Strong.
You're welcome, Chuck. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, we look forward to next time. So in the meantime, my producer today has been Tim Johnson. I am Chuck Tate. My guest was Anna LeBaron. We look forward to seeing you next time on 41 Strong.
YourRealLife.com